Die, demon! Fuck yeah!
Hello tovarishi, my name is The Machine, and Devil May Cry 5 was one of my most anticipated games of 2019. After completing the game, I can assure you that it has definitely lived up to the hype in almost every regard. If you would ask me to describe this game in one sentence, I would simply say Devil May Cry 5 rocks. And now I'll explain why that is. DMC5 is a hack-and-slash action game, reminiscent to a lot of games that were more popular in previous console generations. When a demon invasion starts taking over Redgrave City, you need to stop it by any means necessary. You play as 3 different heroes, each with their own reason to stop the invasion. I don't have a lot of history with the Devil May Cry series, since the only game that I've played was Ninja Theory's DMC reboot. I liked that game, but had mixed feelings on certain aspects of it, especially on its story.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
So I was pretty surprised when I have seen how many cutscenes there are in DMC5, especially in the beginning. They are very stylistic, well directed, and kept me decently entertained. The game looks and runs amazing, with some of the best looking character models and hairworks I have ever seen in a game. It really shows the power of the RE engine, which Capcom has also used for their recent Resident Evil titles. Environments also looked good, but I would prefer if they would be a bit more varied. The soundtrack is also very catchy and fun to listen to. I am really glad to say that the game ran like butter, with a stable 60 frames per second on Ultra in almost every level. There was a bit of dipping in a couple of levels, but otherwise it was great. There is an abundance of optimization settings to tweak for a better performance, which is always a good thing for a PC port. I would say DMC5 is still a good entry point in the series, since you can watch a summary video of the previous game's stories, which are all pretty easy to follow. This video is available in the main menu of the game, under History of DMC. There are some pretty good story summaries on YouTube as well. Although the story is good, it has a few flaws. Don't get me wrong, it's still much better than the DMC reboot story, and I love that it isn't trying to be taken as seriously as that, but I just felt like it could be better, like the developers took the safe route instead of taking a few risks. I didn't like some of the voice acting as well, since certain voices didn't match the given characters. But that was only for like 1 or 2 characters in the game, otherwise the voice acting was great. The ending also hints for a sequel before properly ending the game, which was also a bit disappointing. It just felt as the game was becoming cooler and cooler, and when it became the coolest, it just kind of ended. But these aren't big issues, since the story only serves as a backdrop to the gameplay. Gameplay is the part in which Devil May Cry 5 truly rocks. The game focuses mostly on combat as its main gameplay section, with minimal platforming and puzzles. Combat is very fast-paced and focused on getting a higher style ranking that is achievable by effectively killing enemies with varied combos.
Return to the underworld.
It's easy to learn, but hard to master. The higher your style ranking is, the more you'll be able to hear from the game's songs. It feels like a pleasant change, since most games these days have adopted slower combat with RPG elements, influenced by games like Dark Souls and The Witcher 3. You play as 3 different characters, each with their own different personality, abilities, and playstyle. The first playable character, Nero, is considered to be the game's main protagonist, and is a young devil hunter that wants to prove himself. The demon arm that he had in the previous game was ripped off, so his assistant Nico replaced it with the Devil Breakers, which are different detachable mechanical arms that you are able to use during combat. Each Devil Breaker has a unique trait to help you with killing enemies. For example, Ragtime creates a force field that slows down time, so you can reposition yourself more easily to attack enemies from a safer angle. You earn new Devil Breakers during the course of the game. The second playable character that is new to the series is Wee, a mysterious human that has a book with which he summons his demons to aid him in battle. You need to stand back during combat and let these demons damage enemies before you are able to finish them off. This means you need to micromanage your demon's positioning with your own positioning, which adds in another element of depth. Although I like the complete change in playstyle, Wii's gameplay still feels the weakest of the 3, and could be a bit more refined. And then you have Dante. He's just the best. I want to be like Dante.
The machine, what the fuck are you doing? I'm Dante!
But for real, Dante just rocks. His soundtrack theme shreds the most, his playstyle is the best, and his weapons are the coolest. He is also the cheesiest character in the game. Dante is a veteran devil hunter and some kind of Nero's mentor and inspiration. He plays similarly to Nero, but is able to switch combat styles, which he also had in the previous games. These styles are specialized movesets that allow you to perform special moves. You are able to choose from Trickster, Royal Guard, Gunslinger and Swordmaster. Trickster is used to dash, Royal Guard is used to block, Gunslinger and Swordmaster are used to expand your attacks, which are dependent on the weapon that you have equipped. As with Nero's Devil Breakers, you gain new weapons during the course of the game, with some of them being pretty awesome. You switch between these 3 characters throughout the story, and there are also a couple of missions in which you are able to choose which character to play. In addition to this, you can see and play with other random players that are completing their own sections of the game. Almost every mission you play ends with a boss fight. Most of them are pretty spectacular, with each boss having multiple phases that vary up his attack patterns and are the hardest sections of the game. I liked the boss variety, but didn't like that they reused a couple of them for certain levels. After you are finished with the game, your progress instantly transfers into a New Game Plus with a brand new difficulty, which is one of the reasons why this game is decently replayable. A challenge mode called Bloody Palace is also going to be added as free DLC for the game, which is always a good thing. But there are a couple of things that I didn't like about the game. The camera obstructed my view at times, which is a common issue for games like this. And since I was playing on the PC, it didn't feel good to play with mouse and keyboard. I would recommend the controller if you have it. Progression is revolved around the red orbs that you earn and collect by exploring the levels and killing enemies. You are able to use these orbs to upgrade your stats and unlock new abilities for every character. You can also use them mid-fight to revive yourself instantly. I don't like that these red orbs are also purchasable with real-life money. I would accept if you had microtransactions in a multiplayer live service game, but I think that they are utterly ridiculous to put into a mostly single-player game. I'm still glad that they don't really affect the gameplay, since you can earn most of the stuff just by playing the game. And of course, what would be a Capcom game without the Nuvo on PC? I have already said that this software is useless and anti-consumer for many different reasons that I have cited in my previous review. We can't complete a review of Devil May Cry 5 without asking ourselves how weeb is the game. If you're a weeb, you'll love this game since the developers are from Japan. The main protagonist is an edgelord with a big sword. There are also some pretty sexy waifus, but unfortunately I didn't see any waifu pillows in this game. And that's why I would give this game a weeb rating of 3 out of 10 vodka bottles. But the weeb rating doesn't equal the overall rating of the game. So to recap, here is a quick summary of my thoughts on the game. On the good side of things, Devil May Cry 5 looks and runs amazing, it has a killer soundtrack, excellent combat, 3 playable characters and spectacular boss fights. All these features make the game really fun. On the bad side of things, the game has a few camera issues, microtransactions and the Nuvo. Overall, from all of the games that have already been released this year, Devil May Cry 5 was probably my favorite. I like that Capcom doesn't follow most trends and focuses on making what their fans want them to make. That is truly shown in this game, as it is a perfect staple on how action hack and slash games should be made and that there is still a market for them. Devil May Cry 5 truly rocks, so that's why I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. And that is all for this video. If you've got any other thoughts on Devil May Cry 5, comment them down below. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and follow me on twitch.tv/TheMachineX. My name is The Machine, and I'll see you in the next video.